Okay, folks, today I'm going to explain to you all why every last game out there is a button masher. Now I know what you're all saying.
But my game emphasizes on strategy. It can't be a button masher.
And that, my friends, is why I bring to you the definition of mash. No, not that mash. Anyhow, the definition of mash is to crush or grind something. Now, for the rest of this video, we'll be using this definition of mash to determine exactly how every last game out there can fall into the button masher category. And hopefully the few of you still watching will walk away smarter and more appreciative of why each game was made with button mashing in mind. Okay, let's get started. The first genre of game that I'm going to tackle is the well-known first-person shooter, a genre on which most games these days thrive, for better or for worse. Now, in these games, such as Battlefield, Halo, and Call of Duty, the main objective is to get to the end of the stage and shoot all enemies you can't simply pass over, and sometimes those that you can. Now, to do this, players will oftentimes strategize as to where to position themselves so that they take the least amount of damage that's possible. This is obviously the strategic part of the game. However, now we have to take a look at how the strategy is put into action. The way this works is that the player simply pulls the trigger on their gun. And to achieve this action, the player mashes down right trigger or R1. Now, I know a lot of you are nodding and saying, yeah, we pull the trigger, so what? Well, those of you paying close attention will notice that you all agreed with me stating that this is a button masher without most of you even knowing it. So let's look at what I stated again. And to achieve this action, the player mashes down right trigger or R1.
You cheeky dick waffle!
You see, in this sense right here, the act of shooting the gun is performed by the player either repeatedly pressing or holding down the trigger. This action right here follows the definition of mash perfectly, as the trigger, or R1, is being used over and over again within mere seconds, causing the springs and pressure-sensitive buttons on the inside to be crushed and slowly grind away, which will eventually lead to the button wearing out completely, thus making the game a button masher. Okay, now while I could continue beating a dead horse there, that's enough of shooting down the FPS genre. No pun intended. Let's move on to another genre that will cause even more people to hire snipers to try and wipe me out. That's right, let's talk about RPGs. Alright, now once again, I know a lot of you are thinking that I'm a fool, and that there's no way this genre can be considered a button masher. Well, viewers, once again, I shall have to state the painful truth about the main aspects of how the games are played. Let's start with a well-known RPG franchise, Pokemon. Now, before you stick your Charizards and Rayquazas on me, just hear me out for a moment. In Pokemon, the main objectives of the game are to defeat the evil organization, catch all the Pokemon, get all badges, and defeat the Elite Four. And to do this, the player must train their team of Pokemon to be the best fighters the Pokeverse has ever seen. However, how does this player perform the task of training his or her Pokemon to be the best? By beating the ever-loving crap out of all the other Pokemon. And my god, do we love that system. Suck it, PETA. Now, once we get to the battle screen, be it by a random encounter or by battling a trainer, we're set up with an organized menu screen that allows us to choose which actions to do. So far, this isn't sounding much like a button masher, is it? But there is one aspect that everyone keeps forgetting about. To perform every action in the game, be it attacking or talking to an NPC, the player simply presses one single button over and over again. That's right, the confirmation button. You want to attack? Press A to enter the attack menu. Then press A again to select your attack. You want to talk to this person? Press A. You want to teach young kids how to get addicted to slots? Press A. Anyhow, before I beat this press A thing to death even more, I'm going to point out that this isn't just in Pokemon. This is in every RPG series out there, including my precious Soul series. The only difference there being that we mash other buttons to attack or block in those. It's a hard piece of evidence to accept, but it doesn't make it any less true. Now, there's a few more genres to cover, but I'm already bound to be killed by a sniper in the next couple of hours, so let's just group most of them into one last bit here. The groups that I'm going to rush through are the following: platformers, side-scrollers, and puzzle games. Two of the three should be obvious as to why they're button mashers. Press A to jump, press B to attack. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, as for the puzzle games, those are also pretty easy to find out, as they almost all involve mashing the D-pad in multiple directions, and the only buttons you usually use in those are either A or A and B, making every puzzle game a button masher as well, as you're destroying only one or two usable buttons during the entire game. Trust me on this, I would know. And now, without further ado, there's fighting games. Do I even have to say anything? Anyhow, that's it for today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go hide inside a bunker until this all blows over. Thanks for watching!